Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started with our May Power Hour. Thanks for coming. Just a reminder, sign up back there for the prizes. Today we've got a $50 gift card to the Otter. We've also got an oil change at Firm Auto Repair, along with our normal pizza giveaways for Pizza Ranch and Zorba. So make sure your name's in the bucket before the end of the show. So we're going to get rolling here with our EDA series for May. We've got Nick Woodard from Country Financial. He's going to give us a lowdown on life insurance. Perfect. The stage is yours.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, like said, Nick Woodard with Country Financial. I have an office here in, so you guys can see me here. Yeah, office here in Perm and also in Moorhead. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my business today, myself, and my main focus is life insurance. Here's a little picture of myself and my family. So these are my three boys. This is Kellen, he's 12. This is Mac, he's 9, and Crosby in the middle is 5. This is the queen of our house. This is Minnie. When we had COVID, we were trying to decide, are we going to have a fourth kid? And I said, I think a dog sounds like a better idea. So that's how Minnie joined our life. And that's my beautiful wife, Christy. She's originally from Perm. She's in Ebeling. Her parents are Randy and Carol Ebeling. So you guys probably, a lot of you guys probably know them. Randy worked forever at Tuffy's and Carol works at Carden's. And I'm originally from Frazee, I should say that. We try and spend as much time here in the summer as we can. I bounce between Moorhead and our Perm office. When I'm not working, I'm the forever coach of everything, it seems like. So I coach them in wrestling, also coach them in baseball and in football. And then my oldest decided this year that he was going to hang up his wrestling singlet and went into hockey. So now I don't know anything about hockey, so I get to take that sport at least off and enjoy just watching and not being the coach for everything, but I do truly enjoy doing that. When I have time outside of there, love to hunt and fish. This bear, I'm pretty proud of this, and we have some hunting land by Wolf Lake and was able to harvest that bear last year. And I'll tell you guys, it's nothing more eerie than trying to locate a bear at night that you don't know if it has taken its last breath or not. So that was a little eerie going to find him in the brush, and he was about 400 pounds. So it was pretty scary. And then to let my mother-in-law know that actually there is bears around here and there at that size. She didn't love hearing that. She did not love hearing that. And fun fact about me, some of you guys probably might know my twin brother, Nathan, works at Thrivent, and it messes with everybody that I work for Country Financial, he works for Thrivent, and we're identical twins, and people call me for stuff for him, and I get calls for Thrivent. So if you see pictures around, there is 2 of us. So and this is our older brother, Sean, here, who he lucked out, and he has better hair than we do, so. All right, and then my big focus with Country Financial is life insurance. There's so many different ways that you can use life insurance for your life, and so I'd like to spend a few moments today to explain how I go into talking to everyone about life insurance and their benefits. The biggest thing that I like to talk to with everyone is what your life insurance number is, and that is the right amount of life insurance coverage you have for your needs. So when I sit down with everyone, we kind of go through this acronym here of life. which stands for liability, legacy, income, final expenses, and education. So what we do whenever I have a meeting about life insurance is first we talk about liability and legacy. Liability would be any sort of debt that you have out there that you would like to have taken care of if you were to pass away. So, mortgages, credit card debt, car loans, anything like that. And then also legacy. Legacy is very important depending on your life insurance needs. If there's an amount of money that you want to leave for a family member or an organization that is near and dear to your heart. So, for instance, like if I wanted to, for my 3 boys, if I wanted to say, I wanted to have each of them have $25,000 to help buy their first home, that would go under the legacy category. The next thing is that we talk about is income, and it's income replacement for your loved one if something was to happen to you. So, let's just take myself for an example. If I was to pass away, my wife would want to replace my income for maybe 3 years, 5 years, or even a lot of them want to replace it until their youngest child turns 18. So figuring out what that income number is that you would want to replace in your household. The next is final expenses and then just immediate cash needs. When you're looking at funeral costs, it can be anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000. Plus, depending on your situation, maybe your loved one doesn't want to go back to work for a few months. Maybe there's some other estate needs or other things like that. That goes into final expenses. And then last thing is education. So if I decide that, I'd really like to pay for my 3 sons college education, you kind of figure out what that number is. And so then what we do is we calculate out what all these numbers add up to, subtract out what your policies that you have currently in place, and that is what your life insurance number is. So, it is not a one size fits all. It really depends on your needs, what you're looking for, and what you already have in place. I love to sit down with people and visit with them about their current policies in place, kind of see the hits and misses of what they have in place, and maybe show them some other techniques that we can use to even help them grow money within policies and other things like that. Next slide. 3 different types of life insurance are available out there. There is term insurance, there is universal life, and there is whole life. And so there's always kind of a little confusion as to what types of policies are out there. So I'll start first with term insurance. Term is exactly what it means. Term is for a period of time. So whether it's 10, 20, 30 years that you can take these policies out. They're typically the cheapest policies you can get. But once they are done, they are done. So it's only for a term of time. They do not have where they can build any cash value or anything in it. There's some of these, like a universal life or whole life policy would do that. It's great policy if you just want to get something in place, but don't really know, what some of your needs are going to be in the future, but at least getting something in place, and it is the cheapest option. The next is universal life, and this one is kind of an interesting product that you can use for a lot of different things. So universal life ties in with the S&P 500. So when you put your money into that life insurance policy, it gets invested and it grows cash value. A lot of my clients use this for, I use it for buy-sell agreements for small to medium-sized businesses. I use it for executive compensation plans for small business owners if they want to bonus themselves money and they put it into this plan. It's not as aggressive as putting it in the stock market, but you can get anywhere from 4 to 8% growth in it. So you have the life insurance policy as your death benefit, but also within that grows cash value. And then the other one is whole life insurance, and whole life insurance means your whole life. So it's a policy that you can have from when you're born all the way to your last day on earth. Where it's way different from term insurance, where that falls off when you're 75. Whole life insurance is typically the most expensive product, but like the universal life product, it does build cash value in it. So I have customers that will, put a lot of money into whole life products, because then when they get to, let's say, a $500,000 life insurance whole life policy has probably $150,000 of cash value in it. My customers are able to withdraw that cash out for, if they want to pay off some debt, if they want to fund something in retirement, if they want to gift some money to a child of theirs. So whole life, it kind of has a bad rap because of the Dave Ramsey's of the world, but Dave Ramsey's also sponsored by a term life insurance company. So that's kind of why he doesn't really like to push whole life, but there are great functions for it, and it can be very useful, and people that do have the product really enjoy it. So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of the life insurance. And then just other things that we offer at Country Financial. I know it's we're kind of confusing. Is some people are like, are you an investment company? Are you an insurance company? We are all of that. So I do not do anything with investments. I know when I got into Country Financial with my brother being at Thrivent, I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be competing against one another. So I've solely focused on the life insurance side and the insurance side. So some of the insurances that I provide along with the life insurance is commercial insurance. Some of our real good bread and butter type insurance that we offer are for the trades, construction, plumbing, electrical. Those areas we're very competitive in. Habitational, like 24, 36 plex apartment buildings we're really good with. We do a lot of farm insurance. We originally started out as an Illinois Farm Bureau insurance company out of Bloomington, Illinois, and then we branded ourselves into Country Financial. So we have a large background in farm. Home insurance, that's a big part of my portfolio, whether it's your primary residence or Lake Place, anything like that. I am also licensed in Minnesota and North Dakota. Auto insurance, we like to bundle those together, just like you probably hear commercials for Progressive or all these other companies bundling and saving. That really is true with insurance companies. You get multi-policy discounts when you bundle your home and auto together. Renters insurance, do a lot of those policies, and then the toy insurance for all those fun toys that we have in the area. So boats, motorcycles, RVs, any one of those things that there's a lot of different things that we insure in those areas. So yeah, kind of an overview of what we do.
Anybody have questions for Nick before he steps on? You good? You got cards or something?
Yes, I got a bunch of cards. Yeah.
So we'll leave those on the back table.
Awesome.
And you can grab one on the way out.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
All right. Let me change the agenda. Bridget's going to go first with integrity counseling. So
Thanks.
it's all yours.
Well, this is my only graph. If I had thought of a PowerPoint, it probably would have been consistent of grandchildren. So I've had integrity counseling. My name's Bridget Pinkman. I've had integrity counseling since 2014, and I was first located in the former United Community Bank building. I started on my own. I had 2 rooms, and thankfully my husband paid my rent there. So over time, we have grown very much and outgrew the space that we kept expanding into the space we were in. And then we took everything we could, and then we couldn't, there was no more space available. We had to move people out of there. So with this opportunity to move over here, this worked out really well for us. I have room space for 6 therapists. I need 2 more right now. The demand is very great. I have waiting lists of especially children and adolescents, but also adults. So I expect that we're going to keep growing. That's my hope, that I can hire more therapists. And I did get my site approved as a National Health Service Corps site. You would recognize that. And a STAR approved site, which means that it's a recruitment tool that I can use to bring providers to my clinic because they have the opportunity for student loan forgiveness. So that's just been in the last year, so I'm hoping that'll be a good recruitment tool. We also have 2 part-time psychiatric nurse practitioners for medication evaluation and management. We do an intensive outpatient DBT program, which it's a skills-based therapy. So that makes us unique. I think we're the only certified program in Otter Tail County for that. What else? Just talking off the cuff. We see children through adults, and we see individuals. We do a little bit of work with couples and families. That was mostly my work, and I'm stepped more back into the role of running the business because it takes a lot. So one of the areas I'll target is somebody who can work with couples and families also. I have in mind another niche in permanent service that's not available here, so I'm kind of exploring that. So the reason I went before my husband is because I actually own Dr. Big Brain also, and that's neurofeedback. I had a client who was seeing me who was telling me she was driving to Brainerd for this service. I said, tell me about that. So she did, and I said, we need to have that here. So I asked my husband, who's already got training in neurology and some other things, to look into it and become a certified neurofeedback technician. So he did, and kind of a little niche for him to do in addition to what he's doing, and possibly when he retires have something to do that wouldn't be as hard on his body. So he works for me. Personal fun facts. We've been here since 1993. We came here when Vince bought Dr. Reichel's chiropractic business, which a lot of you won't even remember. I have a twin brother. So, and we have five grown children and 10 grandchildren. So we're really busy with that as well. Does you have questions? We treat conditions, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, self-harming behaviors, emotion regulation issues. So, a lot of people say to me, after COVID, I bet the demand is very great. Yes. And the demand is great anyway. And you don't have to have a severe problem to see a therapist. Okay. So I think it's a wise thing to do when you meet challenges in your life or conflict you can't resolve or that kind of thing. So we have female and male therapists. And questions? Yes.
How can communities support mental health professionals?
That's a good question. I can't remember what it was called, but there's a group that came into Perham. If I think it's been 5 years, it's been more. And they were focused on the needs of the area, but mental health was a missing link. And so I said, what about mental health? What do we do with that? So how can we support it? Stigma I don't think there's such a stigma as there used to be. So I think that's something we're slowly overcoming. And just the therapists I have working for me now are local now. So, if you become aware of them, invite them to become part of our community and feel welcome here.
I think one big way is legislation too. There's parity bills, it's called, to pay mental health the same as all other health. It's paid really quite terrible. And so we want to get that.
It's paid very well.
Is it?
It is.
Way below.
Oh, well, maybe medical, but compared to some other things. But they just this year have brought up fee schedules to become in line with Medicaid was one of the better payers. And so, it is now. I'd say it's very fair now, but I think they recognize the need. So some of those changes just happened.
And there's another bill to add more loan forgiveness in rural areas.
Mhm.
Senator Tito Smith is.
That's terrific. It's not the easiest to recruit providers to a small town. And yet, as we all know, we're sitting here, Perham isn't your typical small town, right? We're really progressive, we're really, we have a lot to offer, so. Anybody else have any questions? I brought some cards for my therapist and some for myself, just so you know how to contact if you wish. And I hope to have a business after hours, so y'all can come and see our new space. Yeah. Okay,
Perfect.
thanks.
Thanks, Bridget.
Come up.
From one to the next, one's been spanking it.
All right, so as Bridget said, when she found out about neurofeedback therapy in 2021, so I looked into it, and it would seem quite good. What really intrigued me was that you can treat, or one of the conditions treated is traumatic brain injury. So I've done a lot of sports medicine over the last 20 years or so for Perham Health, and for sports medicine, and for the Perham High School. So I went to wrestling matches and football games, and that became an issue. So I took more training in that, and how can we manage concussion? One of the things, we could get people better, and we had a really good team, but there are still people that did not improve. And that was always nagging at the back of my mind. What else is there for these people that, cognitively aren't quite as good, or maybe now have chronic headaches, or they have, they don't sleep well, they have anxiety. And so as I'm reading through the conditions, that was one of the ones that was on the list of things treated. So that intrigued me. So I delved into a little more, and I actually found, so I looked at 2 different companies. Then I was looking through a chiropractic trade magazine, and there's an ad for this, one of the companies I was looking at. It's called BrainCore, and it's owned by a group of chiropractic physicians. And then they have a PhD psychologist who does all the background work and help them develop a software that matches up to what else is in the industry. So what is neurofeedback? Neurofeedback is a method of evaluating the brain by measuring and recording the electrical activity of our brain, which is called an EEG, electroencephalogram. With that recording can then be uploaded into a software program, and it's compared to hundreds of thousands of other recordings of the same age groups and stuff. So you're compared to people of your same age. And we are looking at the brainwave pattern. So there are 4 main brain waves we look at: delta, theta, alpha, and beta. You don't need to remember that. But there's a regular pattern, and then there's an irregular pattern. And when you have an irregular pattern, there's a group of symptoms that tends to follow that. So how does a person develop a brainwave dysregulation or imbalance? Most common cause is emotional trauma of some type. It can be an accident you had when you were a child, or something more egregious than that. Things happen to us all the time in our life and create differences in how we perform in our life. So that's a way to kind of dysregulate a pattern, and you tend to follow into symptoms like anxiety, depression, emotion regulation, poor focus. You do your job, but you just can't quite focus on it like you used to. Another big way of just traumatic brain injury, or some type of a physical trauma to our body, or to live in high stress for extended periods of time, family stress, work stress, and you just can't get away from them. Those are ways that change us. And now that's how we operate. Our brain gets in kind of a pattern, and that's what it's going to do. Well, that may not be best for us or the people around us. So by doing this EEG, we can tell which pattern is most dysregulated, and we can provide a protocol to retrain the brain to make a new connection. It's called neuroplasticity. Our brains are plastic, so they can model, we can change what's there. So you train the brain using a program, doing something as simple as having a computer like that, and you're watching Netflix. You have a couple sensors on your head where the software wants us to have it. And as you're watching your favorite Netflix series, the picture is nice and bright when you are in the pattern that the computer wants you to be in. That's your new regulated pattern. And when you go to your old pattern, the screen dims down, and every so often it'll pop back up to where it's bright. That's the feedback mechanism. And over 12 to 17 sessions or so, your brain will learn that and be able to maintain itself in that new frequency band much more regularly. So now it becomes learned. So it's like learning to ride a bike. You can always ride a bike once you've ridden the bike. It's a learned pattern, it stays with us. Then we switch and do probably another pattern, and then we remap it and we do a new recording compared to the first one. What's changed, what still needs to be kind of worked on. So we end up doing about 3 protocols of about 45 sessions total. So it takes about 6 months if you come in twice a week. But you can change that, and I'll just give you a few examples of how people respond. I haven't really had anybody not respond in a favorable way, but so we treat kids with attention issues and behavior issues and emotion regulation issues. We treat adults with the same things, because you're a kid, you grow up, you still have it, might function differently. But people become much more whatever you have. So if you always react to a certain stress and you get anxious and you can't function very well, now that is still there, the same stress comes on, your brain handles it differently. Now it's just a stress, and it doesn't create the big emotional response, or it doesn't create the negative feelings that you get inside. You kind of just, everything kind of melds out. Are you healed perfectly? No. But can you function in your life a lot better? Yes. And I've seen that time and time and time again. I've had kids who were failing school, can't concentrate, don't get their homework done, and the teacher sends a note home saying, this isn't going well. 3 months into doing some neurofeedback, teacher sends a note home unsolicited, certificate of achievement in math because you're doing your homework and you pay attention in class. The parent wasn't even sure that this was even helping her. Other people could notice the difference right away. I've had a 40-some-year-old man, a lot of stuff in his life. He was only probably 15 sessions in, went to see his father, who hadn't seen for 2 or 3 months, and he said, "What are you doing? You're really acting different than you usually do." So people around us notice the difference. People who have it done to them can tell the difference. So I would say it's just it's another tool. We have counseling. We have different things that can help. We have medications that help us. Sometimes that doesn't quite fit the bill, or we don't want to live with the level we have. Neurofeedback is another way to look into that and possibly improve your life beyond what you're doing. It is not covered by insurance, but yet it's worked on. But that's a whole nother issue, trying to figure out how to get stuff covered. But it's really grown. It's been around since the 1960s, but it has really grown since around 2000. Once they could do MRI or functional MRI of the brain, and they learned what the brain is doing, all the different parts. So that's what I do with Dr. Big Brain. I started it with just a half a day, 2 half days a week when I wasn't doing chiropractic treatment. I outgrew that in about 3 months. Then I went to 2 full days. That lasted about 2 months, and then I'm not. So then I found someone to hire who was trained in it, because they had worked at the one in Brainerd. So it opened up 4 days a week last summer. And as we segue into my last part is I injured my arm last summer. Had to have my bicep tendon reattached to my elbow, and that was a big blow to my life, because that's all I had done my whole life. And so as I had months off to figure out what I'm going to do in life, do I want to go back and work it just as hard as I did or not? And as the longer I sat there, to realize that I don't want to go through this again. So I want to do something where I can control what I do in life. So I had the neurofeedback business growing, and but I just felt like I still wanted to do some chiropractic. So in February, I opened up Dr. Big Pain Solutions in the same space that I have Dr. Big Brain. And so I do some chiropractic like I've always done, and I've added a few services of some new things, mostly focusing on pain management. So chronic pain, so chronic muscular pain. I have a new piece of equipment called acoustic wave compression therapy. It just uses a sound wave to kind of break up the tissue. It's like doing myofascial release therapy or a deep tissue massage, but you can actually penetrate deeper and it's more comfortable. It only takes 6 to 8 minutes in an area. So that has been a wonderful thing at releasing pain for people. And then I use high intensity laser therapy as well with that many times in protocols. So we're working at trying to manage something that hasn't been managed well with whatever you've tried. Maybe you've tried chiropractic, maybe you've tried physical therapy, maybe you've had surgery on your shoulder and it still hurts. This is something that's different. No one else in the Lakes area has it. And so it's one of the services that I provide, or that just kind of a little niche that's different than what everybody else is doing. A lot of people there's a lot of good chiropractors in town. This is just something different to give people another option. And so that's what it is. Do you have any questions or anything?
For your chiropractic services, do you still take insurance for that part of it?
I do not. So both of the businesses we do are just cash-based service. So
His are, I do.
yeah, she does insurance. So,
Have you had any kids get off their IEPs? Do they know?
oh yeah, that's a big one. Kids, have an IEP at school. I've had most of the kids who are doing the neurofeedback and completed it, either they're significantly reduced in it or they're just off of it later, like by the next school year. That's been a big deal for parents. That's more of a parent thing. It's like, and for the child itself, but parents are really, it's like, so, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, next on the agenda, we've got West Central Initiative. I don't know who it is. Who is it?
Yes, I'm Celeste Coffey. Hi, everyone. Rick Shera is finally on vacation. I think his brother's in town, and I said, Rick, I can take this one for you. So I'm the Rural Initiative Strategist at West Central Initiative. I oversee the grant making, and I facilitate grant making. I also work on our rural democracy and rural belonging projects. This is an exciting time. We have 3 opportunities available at West Central Initiative. The first one I'll tell you about, it closes tomorrow. It's the Welcoming Week application, and this is available to community groups, organizations, and also businesses. Last year, Perm had a great Welcoming Week event with community painting tiles that I believe will go up.
We're doing it again.
Oh,
We
that's
need
great.
a lot of tiles.
A lot of tiles. So come help find tiles,
Yes.
help paint tiles.
Or if your business wants to do their own thing, we'll provide the tiles and the paint. You guys can have a.
See, all right. So connect. And I don't know, I'll leave it to you to figure out how many applications you need to look for Welcoming Week. But if you're looking to join and also do something different, there is a short sponsorship application for up to $500, and that closes tomorrow. Everything, I don't have any paper with me today, but everything you can find on our website, wcif.org, under the Grant Seekers tab. The other opportunity we have right now is the Resilient Communities Grants. And I was happy to come today because we just closed the Dolores Kenner Endowment Fund earlier this spring, and it's a great opportunity for us to realize and recognize and read about everything that Perm is doing when it comes to the nonprofit sector, and we're always blown away. And also by the generosity of Dolores Kenner herself. So kudos to you all. I also know that this is an active component fund community, so many of you might be in touch with Sam, and that I'm always impressed by that, by the activity going on in town. But resilient communities, we have 2 categories. One is sustainability, and this is offering grants focused on climate action and sustainability between $2,000 and $10,000. Usually you can go up to 2 years with the project, and that would be up to $25,000 as the largest funding request we will accept. And then we also have racial equity grants, and the funding structure is similar, between $2,000 and $10,000 with up to $25,000. Some examples of projects and applications we've received in the past. Schools really, I think, run for the sustainability category. So we've seen a lot related to climate education, greenhouses, sustainable food, but also many community groups doing the same thing. Education-related piece, sustainability studios in Fergus Falls was one project funded through the Resiliency Fund last year. And that's really around art education, and kind of the trash to art style. One thing I'd like to clarify is we were running resiliency funds, and that was more of a pandemic response and relief. With resilient communities, we do realize the pandemic is ongoing, but our organizations, the feedback we got is it's not exactly helpful to focus on that, right? We need to kind of focus on business as usual and rebounding in that sense. I'm gonna pause there for questions. Any questions related to the Resilient Communities Grant? Yes.
We did a business resiliency grants program for our Dr. Bakery, and it was a great process.
Oh, great. And so
It
you
was
were
a
in touch with
matching
Greg,
funds. Oh, I don't know. It
Kate, maybe?
sounds more right there.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
It's been a little while, so that was a good process.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I know that Greg Wagner and Kate Mudge on staff with our loan programs were facilitating this program and resources through the state. So we are one of the Minnesota Initiative Foundations, and all of the MIPS helped roll out that state aid and relief.
Do you have anything for women-owned businesses?
Women-owned businesses, in
Do
terms
you
of
focus on that demographic?
We don't, but we have all of our loan programs, right? And I think Kate Mudge on staff is a great advocate for women-owned businesses because she's owned several herself. That's a great question, absolutely, yeah. And I can take general questions related to West Central Initiative. One other opportunity I'd like to mention today is the Initiators Fellowship is open, and so that's for social entrepreneurship. So folks in the community who might have a project that benefit the community at large. I want to rewind to Resilient Communities. That is open until May 22nd. And I don't know off the top of my head the Initiators Fellowship, but again, all of that information is on our website. So, yeah. Alrighty.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming. Moving right along. Next, we've got Partnership for Health. We've got Jane Neubauer. Talk about some nonprofit debt.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Jane Neubauer, and this is a great time for me to insert myself here right after West Central Initiative stuff because we work really closely with West Central Initiative on a lot of our projects. I am a consultant, actually, that works throughout the region on different grant projects that help people get access to care, whatever that might look like, whatever kind of care that is. So there's a lot of different things that have been talked about here today that I've worked with in the past, and there's just a ton of need out there that people aren't being able to address. So, good. So again, this was initiated by West Central Initiative. I currently work with Partnership for Health, which is funded through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota with Otter Tail County Public Health. So that's kind of my overarching agency. And the goal of this project is dental. It's dental related. So believe it or not, when we talk about access to care, access to dental care is one of the biggest disparities that we also have in the region. And a lot of that goes back to what we talked, I heard somebody talking about reimbursement rates, and some of that is affiliated with that. So our goals are to identify the dental resources that we have, to address the gaps that we have, and then expand dental care to people who have lower income. So particularly, this is a disparity that affects people who are lower income. And then, of course, we do increase education and awareness about the importance of good health. Here in Perham, we worked with a partnership with Colgate to bring education to your schools, to the kids at the school. And it's a great partnership. They do virtual presentations, and then all the kiddos get new toothbrushes and all that kind of stuff too. So really, again, this is our target geography. We're hoping to increase dental access by about 45% over the next 5 years. This column here on this side of the screen that says 11,456 people. That's the number of people that we hope to increase access to dental care for. And if we accomplish that, we will still only have about 55% of people that are low income that are able to access and see a dentist. So I realize that wouldn't we love to see that number at 100%, but when you look at the big scheme of things, that would be increasing our percentages quite a bit there. So And it's across the gamut of all ages. We have little kids, we have tiny little children. When I first started doing this job, I heard from a Head Start home visitor that had a child with behavior problems. The child wouldn't eat, the child couldn't sleep. They had tested the child for autism and all kinds of different disorders. And when they first took a peek in that child's mouth, that little child had 20 cavities. And so you can imagine why that child wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping, wasn't learning, wasn't doing any of those things. And once their cavities were addressed, that it was a whole new child. So that was, these things happen all the time. So, what are we going to do about this? We're proposing a 3-part process to help increase access to dental care. The first one is to construct a new nonprofit dental clinic in Becker County, which is going to be, we have since discovered, in Frazee. So part of the planning process has been where to host that clinic. It will be operated by Northern Dental Access Center. They are a nonprofit dental clinic that's based out of Bemidji, Minnesota. They have one satellite office in Halstead. This will be their second satellite, and we'll be adding another satellite. I just found that out up by Park Rapids area as well. So that's the first star. We actually have to move our star because when we first started talking about it, we were looking more in the Detroit Lakes area, but have decided to come this way instead. The second part of it will be to expand the current Apple Tree Clinic, which is located in Holly, Minnesota. So that is the clinic now that many folks from here, from Perham, from many, many miles around, they travel to Holly to get their dental care at Apple Tree there. Sadly enough, they have had about a 1,500 person waiting list for many, many years in a row, and they actually aren't accepting any new patients and have not been for about the last 2 years because they're just full to capacity. They can't take any more folks. And then the third part of that will be to add some sedation dentistry capabilities. So again, when we have those kids and adults, anybody who has those really needy, intense decay, they would have that sedation dentistry capacity in Detroit Lakes. So that will be in partnership with one of our medical providers, our primary care folks up there in that area. So that's our 3 process. This is just a kind of a big scale thing of the overall project, our timeline. We're currently into 2023, obviously, so we're starting, they've identified where the new clinic will be located. They haven't started building yet, but we're hoping, as you can see in the top box there, that blue line, in early 2024, they will start the building process for that new clinic. Apple Tree, they have done their research and their background work. Both of the clinics with Apple Tree and with Northern Dental are looking for all the different grant opportunities that are out there. We've been in communication with West Central Initiative about your Main Street Revitalization Grant, which that one is hopeful. It's designed exactly for things like that. And then obviously the sedation dentistry, that will come farther down the line. The large blue line there is something that's really exciting about this project as well. So I heard that there's a need for there's a shortage of therapists, right? We know that across the board. We also have a huge shortage of dental professionals. There aren't enough dentists. The dentists that we have are about 50% of them age 50 or older. So they will be retiring out. And we just don't have enough dental providers coming back in to fill their shoes. We do also have a shortage of dental assistants and dental hygienists. Once again, this is a rural Minnesota thing. There's a lot of more opportunity and the wages are a little higher in the metropolitan areas. But again, that's a big part of this project is to look at a flexible staffing model that would allow the current workforce that we have to work maybe one Friday a month, or 1 week out of the month, or 3 months out of the year if they want to. Maybe they're a snowbird and want to go south for the winter and they only want to work here in the summer months. So that's a really innovative model that we have that they are expanding on for both Apple Tree and Northern Dental Access. So that is that. So the new clinic, Frazee, the city of Frazee, we've been in discussions with them. They have a downtown building that is a shell. Currently, if you know Frazee at all, the Psych Drug building is there, and the location next to that is currently just part of a shell building. So we are in discussions with the city of Frazee to potentially purchase that or lease it. If that doesn't work out, they've also signed a purchase agreement to hold the spot that is the current city campground. if you're familiar with where that location is, right along the river there. And that will then be the site for a brand new build if they need to have to go that way. So, pretty exciting stuff. We know that it's going to bring some good jobs to the region. Dental professionals they're, across the gamut, they are good jobs, and we hope to they would be bringing in about 22 new staff, new employees, when you're talking dentists, dental, hygienists all across the gamut there, and admin and office staff too. So that is that. I talked a little bit, I guess I jumped ahead of myself here on my slides, but this is just kind of where we're at with the licensed dental professionals that we have. We want to really start talking about this process with our dental workforce. So do we have any dentists here, or any dentists a part of this group today from Perham? Okay, so what our goal with this will be is to be starting to meet with all of the dental providers across the region, bringing them some lunch, sitting down and talking to them, talking about this project and talking about this flexible staffing model. It's pretty innovative, and we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of it. So we'll be back and just visiting with specifically with the dental offices on that. So these are some of our stakeholders. It's been a big, broad process of work. It's why I'm here today to talk with you, because we want to make sure that you're aware of the project. We want to invite you to be a part of this project. There are many, many families here that are not able to access dental care. They are missing work because of it. Their kids are missing school because of it. There's a huge economic impact on it as well. And as a last resort, they're being seen at the hospital with an infected tooth where, at best they would get an antibiotic and sent home and try to get a dentist appointment. So we're very grateful for all of the partners here that have worked with us on this. And we can hopefully continue to do that. So a fundraising update, this is just where we're at so far. Our process has been about $173,000 in cash. Many different providers have contributed to that. And that has been what has funded the planning process for this up through this time. So it's been a great help, a central initiative that has been kind of at the forefront of our work with this, and been doing a good job. And then of course the in-kind contributions are there as well. So again, we're going to continue the major fundraising efforts that we're at. We're also looking at some legislative funding ideas that are out there and available right now that may help to fund and support something like this. Getting that site finalized and the development of that new clinic, the plans drawn up for that. They are working with a local Perham contractor for the building of this new building with Hammers Construction. They've been wonderful in helping us to get at least a draft of a plan drawn up and giving us feedback on costs and all of those kinds of things. So we're really grateful for them to be helping us with that. So that's just kind of the next steps. Our next meeting will be in June. If anybody here would like to be a part of that, again, you're welcome to attend and participate in that. We'd love to keep you informed as the project evolves. And we welcome anybody at the table at any time. So, questions, comments? Yeah.
Am I understanding that this is staffed by practicing professionals that are already working at other clinics, and then just pick a day here or there, whatever?
So it's a great question. They do also have dental providers on staff that are there all year, that are always there. They do supplement, however, very heavily, especially in the dental profession, with part-time dentists that come on that flexible staffing model. So yes, the answer to your question is it's partially staffed that way, and then partially staffed with permanent full-time employees that are there all the time to keep that consistency. So yeah.
This is obviously looking ways out, but because there is such a long wait list, is there any way of getting people on the list early? I have a sister that goes back to Carver River,
Yep.
North Dakota.
I believe you.
Can't find somebody to take
Yeah.
San May in the area.
So one thing that we're doing to help eliminate those wait lists is we're helping to organize mobile clinics throughout the region. So we've expanded, we have 9 new mobile clinics in the last 3 years. That the closest one that you have here is in New York Mills. There isn't the Perham School does have, it's called the Minnesota School Sealant Program that comes to the school and provides cleanings and exams for kids. But otherwise we're setting up the mobile sites in hopes of trying to take the pressure off on those waiting lists. So, yeah.
But there's no way to get on a wait list
Not really, no, it's really, it's a sad deal, it really is. And people, even if you're on a wait list, it's your responsibility to call back each month. So they don't necessarily, if they call and can get you in, but if you don't call back each month, then you're bumped off the wait list. So, yeah, it's a process. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Jane. All right, Betsy's already on her way up here to give us the update on the Great American Think Off. So, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So believe it or not, it's been 30 years that we've been doing the Great American Think Off, but I'm going to start just with the Cultural Center. So the New York Mills Regional Cultural Center is a multidisciplinary arts center located in New York Mills, and we've also been around for 32 years now. We just celebrated 30 years on Main Avenue in New York Mills last year. We do a lot of different things. We have live music events. We have a gallery where we have a variety of different visual art exhibits. We do classes and workshops. We have community festivals and events like the Think Off, and we do a lot of partnering with organizations as well in different ways. So just recently in Perham, we were able to, we had a woodwinds trio that performed at the Cultural Center, and also was able to go into Mills Manor, into Perham Living for a performance, and then into the New York Mills School. And we've worked with Perham School in the past as well. So really, we just try to get artists of all different kinds, working with people of all different backgrounds and ages and all of that. So bringing creativity, culture, and arts to the region, really. And we've been doing that successfully for a long time, and we have a lot of great partnerships out there too. We work with Tiffany and her team at Empowering Kids. Cheryl Banis is our artistic director, and she teaches art classes with the kids there on a regular basis as well. So a lot of different opportunities to partner. So if anybody's looking for that, please talk to me. We're really happy to build partnerships with different organizations and groups. So the Think Off has been around for 30 years. How many of you have heard of the Think Off, the Great American Think Off? Okay. And how about, has anybody been to the Great American Think Off? Okay. So maybe this is the year that more hands are going to get raised next year. I invite you all to come. It is Saturday, June 10th. So it's actually, I see that it's on Sunday. So hopefully I don't have the wrong date out there, but it actually is on Saturday. So don't come on Sunday. That'll be really sad. It's Saturday, June 10th. It's held at the New York Middle School Auditorium. So we have really nice, comfortable seating for up to 550 people. We usually get 200 to 300 people that come to the event. The question this year, I wrote it down in case I had a mind blank, but I think I'm going to come up with it. So which should be more important to protect, the environment or the economy? It's been a very interesting, so people write essays first. I should back up, I guess. So the Great American Think Off asks these philosophical questions. We invite people to write essays, and we announce the question January 1st, and people have until April 1st to submit essays answering the question, up to 750 words. We have a committee of volunteers that reads all the essays and chooses the top essays. We get together and there's an art and science to ranking the essays and then making the decision about which ones were the best. And we judge all of those blind. So we don't know any name, age, detail, where are they from. We don't know any personal information. We're just reading the content of the essays. We then choose 4 finalists, 2 on each side of the questions. We have 2 that say economy this year, 2 that say environment this year. We invite those 4 to New York Mills for an all expense paid weekend in New York Mills, Minnesota, in June. That's great, beautiful Otter Tail Lakes country. So they'll be coming into New York Mills. We do a kickoff event on Friday, June 9th. So we always have a reception to welcome the finalists. And that also is the reception for our regional art show. So it's really fun. The show in the gallery right now is our regional show. So we have a lot of really talented regional artists, and that event is really fun. So Friday, June 9th from 6 to 8. That's free and open to all. So you can come and meet the finalists, meet some artists, and help us kick off the Think Off weekend. And then the Think Off debate itself, that's where the 4 finalists will be up on stage. And it's a pretty organized and quick moving style of debate. So we ask a question, they get 2 minutes to answer, and then the other person gets a 1-minute rebuttal. So it moves along. It really is a very interesting event. When I first started at the Cultural Center, I was like, I don't know, that sounds interesting, but I don't know what to expect. And I couldn't believe how engaging the event itself is. It's really fun to hear different ideas from people. The big kind of the guiding principle of the event is about civil discourse, listening to each other, learning how to disagree respectfully. And I think those are all things that are super important, especially right now. And I think, people, whenever I do interviews with radio stations or whatever about the Great American Think Off, people say, why do you think this is happening? Or do you think it's important that this is happening in rural America? Because it's really the only contest of its kind in the U.S. I've never found anything similar, really. And I always say yes, I think it is really important because, you know, we are we're a rural area where we know a lot of people. We see each other at the grocery store, we see each other at church. Even if you have differing opinions, we learn how to get along, right? And talk to each other and be respectful. So I think that's a base level expectation of what happens around here. And so I think, you know, people also say, have you ever had any fights or do people ever get nasty? And no, they really don't, because I think we just don't allow it. I don't know what would happen if somebody started to get the hook and pull them off the stage. Anyway, so it's always
Get a
a
bigger
really,
audience.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. So we try to pick questions that are like, you know, somewhat controversial, but not too controversial.
Yeah.
We actually never asked an environment question, so we'll see what happens this year. But I think the time is right. There's a lot going on right now with environmental and economic questions. Of course, everyone always says, you know, there really isn't one or the other. They work together. Well, that's kind of the point. We try to ask questions like that because it is hard to choose a side. But if you do kind of force people into choosing a side, they're going to bring up arguments that are interesting on both sides. So just want to invite everybody to that. We've had 30 years, we've had thousands of essays. We've had essays from all 50 states in the United States. And we also have had from multiple countries outside of the US as well. So it really does have a broad reach. It's our most well-known event. We have, back in the late 90s, it actually was broadcast on C-SPAN for a couple of years. And then we have been on the Today Show as well. With some of the finalist results. So it really has kind of this broad knowledge across the US. And so I think I loved that you guys all at least have heard of it. Now I invite you to come and experience it and be part of it. So you can say, I've been to the Great American Think-Up, okay? The moderator this year is Katie Lang. She is a KLN brand marketing person. So we just were able to meet with her last week. So we're really excited to have her come and moderate. So she'll be the, you know, one asking the questions up on stage. That's all my notes. Does anyone have questions for me about the Think-Up or the Cultural Center for that matter? Go for it.
Time is it on Saturday?
Yes, 7 p.m. So it is an Saturday evening. So that means if June 10th is a beautiful sunny day, go out on the lake, enjoy it, and then come over to the American School by 7 o'clock. And it usually is done around 9:30, and then we do a post Think-Up party at the Cultural Center where we get together and enjoy some food and drinks and conversation afterwards with the finalists and with the community. And the weekend is great, and that's maybe my favorite part of the event once we've had a successful debate.
It's on Saturday on the
It is.
calendar. I
Okay.
don't know that, I pulled that off of our end, so I'm not
It's
sure.
probably Excel spreadsheet problem.
Yeah, and for different format on the date.
Yes, yeah, thank you for thinking.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right, thanks for having me.
All right. Next on the agenda, we've got Cynthia Arnold from the Red River Valley Veterans Band. They've got a show scheduled in Perham.
Thursday, May 11th.
Thursday, May 11th.
Nice poster, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I did bring some posters with, just, so you can pass it down and just take a look at it. I'm with the Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band, and I live here in Perham, just outside of Donald Lake. And we are a band that loves to play patriotic music. We'll be playing at Perham Living at, let's see, I think it's 6:30, 6:45. And then we pack everything up into a bus. We move it over to the Perham Center for the Arts, and we have a concert over there. The acoustics in the Perham Center for the Arts are amazing. Our mission for the Red River Valley Veterans Concert Band is to spread patriotism through music. Every person in the band that I play with loves to play patriotic music, and the rewards that we get from that are we get to please a veteran that has not been welcomed home when they came home from Vietnam and when they came home from World War I. When we go to the nursing homes, that's when we recognize every veteran that has been in a war somewhere. So it's very moving for the band when we play for an audience that has veterans in the audience. So we're hoping that we have a good turnout once again from Perham. Perham has always welcomed the band wonderfully, very happily, and the warm welcome that we feel from every person that has helped us
from Perm Living to Fran at the Center for the Arts has just been amazing. So they continue to come because they just love doing it. The band comes from Fargo. We rent a bus. The bus is what do they call it, a charter bus. They have lunch on the bus, they drive out, they put on a concert, they load everything up again, all the musical instruments. And so it's quite interesting to watch this whole thing move through. It's like it's all in motion. Everybody has their own job to do, and it's very interesting to watch. So if you have any children that you would like to bring to the concert, we would love that. I think that children are what's missing at our in our audience. So please come if you have an uncle, if you have a father, a grandfather, or children that you think would benefit from listening to patriotic music, and just giving them the feeling of what they're listening to and what we are appreciating, what our veterans did for us. So we'd love to have someone come, and I sent those posters out, and we'd love to have everybody here come. You do have a good turnout, but any questions? My daughter is in here too, by the way. She works for United Way. And I was her tooth fairy, by the way, Jean.
The truth is out.
So,
All right.
thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Leah.
It's me.
It's Leah. So this is our growth zone segment.
I was gonna do something more elaborate, but I was home with my son yesterday, and that's really fun working with a 2-year-old. So we just wanted to highlight, I know we kind of said that we would go over some growth zone stuff, member benefit kind of things. I just wanted to highlight what is available to you through our info hub for free that will post directly to perm.com. So perm.com gets over 100,000 site visitors every year. We're hoping to increase that with all of this. So these are all growth zone benefits. So when we switched to growth zone, that added the jobs board, that added the restaurant listings, perm deals, and then we just added the resorts and rental postings as well. So if you go to your info hub, I know a lot of you guys have logged in. If you need help with that, just shoot me an email and I can send you a login link. The job postings has been really successful. You can, like, as a person looking for a job, you can subscribe to that listing. So every time there's a new job, immediately it will send them an email saying, hey, Back on the Rack posted a job, blah, blah, blah. And so they can check that out there. Our member-to-member coupons are something that only shows in the back side of things. So that'll only show in the info hub. So that's not viewable to the public. So if you wanted to be like, hey, I'm a chamber member, I want to support another chamber member and give them a deal. You know, Grand State did like a free drink at their hotel bar for a chamber member kind of thing and just popped that on there. And then we have Shop Perm deals. Those ones are viewable under the where to shop. We have like our retail and specialty shops linked that goes to the directory. And then right below that, we have the deals. There's nothing on there right now, but if you have a shop and want to share that deal, that will go directly to perm.com. And then the lodging and resorts, that one's a really good one for like a last minute opening. If you have a special promotion going on, like the hotels, they have different promotions that they do every week. Vacation rentals, we have like Soda Lake Properties, all of our resorts that are members, they utilize that. Or say, hey, somebody dropped, there's a open cabin this week, and then they pop it on there. And people can subscribe to that as well. Restaurant specials, that's a great spot for your daily, weekly, or monthly specials. You just create a flyer, pop it on there, and that'll be able to be seen by anyone that visits. And they're all associated with the directory links to those things. So when people are looking for where to eat, they'll go there, you can look at the directory, and then you'll see that specials. Obviously, the event calendar, you can all post through here anytime you have an event. Really anything going on that you want to put on the events calendar, we're open. It does have to be approved by us, but 99.9% of things are approved.
I don't think we denied it yet.
No, and from when they're coming from members, we know that you guys aren't going to be putting some crazy stuff on the calendar. I hope not. Then we got another discussion. But it is public is allowed to submit events to our calendar as well, and those are approved just the same. Other than that, go on your info hub, check out your billing, directory listings, making sure that's all up to date. We do have different directory levels, so if there's some things that you aren't seeing that you want to have on your directory, just shoot me an email or give us a call and we can discuss through the options for the next levels. Does anybody have any questions?
Everyone familiar with the Info Hub and what it is? The member-facing portal for our new software, so it's your guys' end.
So really, we're just asking people to use it.
Get in there
Use
and
it for
explore.
anything you want. If you have a question, if it's applicable, just send us an email. We'll find a spot for it. There's also a resources tab that currently we have just like our opt sheet and different member information stuff, but there is two sections. One is chamber information and one is member information. So like I know I've talked to Rick at West Central Initiative to pop in those if you have a flyer about a new or like even a link to the application for a different grant that can go in our resources tab and things like that. Just any informational applications, sheets, donation forms, requests, that can all hop in there. And then when we do our weekly newsletter, we can say, hey, here's the information, hop on your info hub, check out the resources, you'll find everything you need there. So we think it's really cool and we want people to start using it. Well, people have started using it, but more. The more people who use it, the more traction perm.com will get. That's the goal.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I
Thanks,
got.
Leah.
You're welcome. Is there any members?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So like if you want to send a customer to that site, that's perm.com,
Yes.
then we use it, we go to our,
Yes.
okay.
So on perm.com, it under the perm chamber, this one perm chamber drop down, it says member login. And so that's where you can bookmark that login and then you click there, it goes straight to the, and then it'll lead you to the info hub.
Good question.
Any more questions?
New members, we're continuing to grow, so use these members. They're part of the group. Other chamber updates. Next big thing is turtle races. That's going to start June 7th. It's the first Wednesday of June this year, so watch for that.
4 weeks from tomorrow.
4 weeks from tomorrow.
Do we have turtles? Turtles are on their way.
Turtles are on the way.
It's a little
and then-
chilly. It's been a little chilly.
And then Turtle Fest obviously is a couple weeks after that.
So if you have any events that you want to go on perm.com for Turtle Fest, it has its own specific events page and events listing. They'll also go on the events calendar, but perm.com will pop your like flyer, that kind of stuff. And then there's just a listing of look on Wednesday, here's all the things that are happening kind of thing. So if you have anything you want to add to that, please let us know. I can add that up to the Friday of Turtle Fest if you want. So there's no deadline
The
really.
poster is done.
Yeah.
You won't get on the poster if you have anything now. But and we have posters at the chamber office. If you're swinging downtown and you want a poster, stop and grab one. Otherwise, everything's going good.
There's 5 more spots on the eating contest.
Oh yeah, the wing eating contest. I know Katie's in. I'm in.
My
My brother-in-law's in.
I'm not in.
Your husband's in? That's hot. That's buffalo wings. You get a pound and a half of buffalo wings here from Kate's Ranch, and whoever eats them the fastest wins.
So if you want to compete with Katie Schiller.
Brent is competing
I was the
again.
most when I signed
Katie.
up, not fast.
Katie Brent's
Well,
I'm
competing.
not talking.
I think they're
I think there's a
assuming,
time limit. It's
yeah,
either the most in 15
I think they're
minutes or the
assuming that
first
everybody's
15
gonna finish them all, it's just whoever finishes
Doesn't
them all
matter.
first.
Yeah.
Katie's,
I
Brent's
feel it
against
was
you.
3 pounds in 20 minutes, or
It's getting bigger and bigger, I think.
Well, so yeah, if you want in, or you wanna voluntold the business representative to do it, get a hold of Dan.
Oh, man, I don't know.
minutes. I'm just in it for the free wings.
For lunch.
Go, yeah, you're up.
Okay, thanks.
Here for lunch.
Not that I'm pushing you around, but power hour is gonna turn into hour and a half.
Mhm.
So, which is kind of like happy hour. Who wants to be happy for just 1 hour? Right? Be happy all the time. Just quickly, so we had a lot of great content. Just happy to be in Perm, all the things going on. But I always, so it always makes my job easier to make you aware of all the things that interrupt these great things, right? So road projects are starting. If you've been out in County 8 North, they started this week. So you'll see some delays. It's gonna be under construction, which means there'll be flaggers. So you'll still be able to travel it. It's just gonna be 1-lane traffic, inconvenient, take you a little bit more time. So that's County 8, all the way to 53. So that has started. They're hoping to have that paved and done by the first or second week in June. So it should go rather quickly. And then we have the in-town portion, which is from 3rd Street to Main Street. We don't have a time frame on that yet. We're still waiting for some Burlington Northern issues to resolve themselves. But we'll let you know when that happens. The other piece that will be affected is 4th and 5th Streets and 4th and 5th Avenues on the southwest part of town. So just east of Perham Living, just north of Krause Park. So if you take 5th Street and Full High School to Perham Living, for instance, you won't be able to do that starting next week. So it's a little tic-tac-toe board of construction. That's gonna start, like I said, next week with underground. That'll last probably through the month of June. So there'll be some inconveniences on that southwest part of town. The other last piece of this project is Pinewood Lane. So Pinewood Lane is a little section off of County 51 that goes by the new KLN headquarters to Kenny's Candy, off in that area. That'll get done in July. That'll be a little inconvenience for people that are going in and out for Kenny's Candy, JC Electric, washing machine, any of those businesses. So. Otherwise, the only other thing I have, the county, and maybe Nick can help me with dates if you know them, but they're bidding out County 51. So County 51, which I was just talking about by the KLN headquarters, Shears Snacks, and going all the way out past Zorba's to County 60 is going to be bid this in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'm going back to a board meeting, so I should find out in this.
Hopefully, perfect, approving that. So we're looking at that project probably being done later this summer, early fall. Again, that'll be under construction to the best of my knowledge at this point. So it'll be flaggers, it won't be detours. So 1-lane traffic, but that'll be an inconvenience for a few weeks. It's a full depth reclamation, which goes pretty quick. It's just, again, just an inconvenience 1 lane at a time. So that's it. That's all the bad news I have today.
All right. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
We've got one late ad. Jody from Backham Rec has something pretty important she wants to talk about for one of our local business owners that is struggling right now.
So I'm gonna try not to get too emotional, but some of you know, the accident that occurred in Fargo, was one of our business owner's daughters. My best friend, Jen, at HOL, we lost Shaylee on Sunday afternoon. Shaylee was 21. She was getting ready to fight on May 20th. And it was quite a tragic accident. I have started a benefit for Shaylee at United Community Bank. I have the thing to scan here. It is at HOL also. It has been shared on my business account. You can go to HOL, you can drop off money, you can drop off money at United Bank. I know that lots of people have shared it. There's not a GoFundMe account, because we decided to go just directly so that there's no fees, for the family. If you would like to do gift cards, anything like that, you can drop them off at my store. If you have any questions, about any type of donations, please, reach out to me. But please, during this time, just keep, your family in your prayers. The business will be open. The girls are doing great. I actually worked there all day yesterday, not knowing anything, doing anything, but I learned a lot, and just all your prayers. It's really, really appreciated. HOL is the Shake Shop. It's Jen Buckles who's owned it, and she's been there for, oh my gosh, 8 years. It's in the Layton Mall, is that what they call it? Yeah, right over by United Community Bank there, so any questions, just let me know.
Nothing else, stop in and support the business.
Yes, and you can grab a shake, yeah, and there's a bucket there, and there's also the scan where you can scan and donate to it. And it goes directly into the account, so, thank you.
Good. Thanks, Jody. All right, anyone seconds on the mic, otherwise we'll get to our drawings.
Trees next Thursday.
Trees at the bank?
I got thousands of trees coming, so please come grab a tree and plant it. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, next best time is next Thursday. So fir and brazier dent, we have trees.
Maybe we could plant it on the road where they're all digging up there.
We did Saturday. Good hit. There's a bunch in there.
I saw that, but we could just add more, right?
Okay, we got our drawings. Nick, our EDA Education Series is gonna draw for an Otter gift card. We got it.
I think it's great.
Leah. Win.
No, I do not.
Okay, we'll do an oil change next. This is a Durham Auto Repair on Fourth Avenue Road. Shelley Becker. And then we got our pizza package. This is 2 take-away pizzas from right here at Pizza Ranch. Ron Lauer. Right there.
Thank
Those
you.
on your way. And the pizza at Zorba. Summer, just a summer, I guess we can say.
Give it to her mom.
I just put my name.
There you go. All right, if there's nothing else, that's all we have for this month. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Probably just patiently sitting at the window.
Hey, Jake, how you doing? Good. I'm Ron.
We couldn't be like
Very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming.